Have you ever wondered why so many Americans are drowning in debt, while China has created over 1 million new millionaires in the last 2 decades? The answer might surprise you, and it goes against everything we're taught about money in America. While we flaunt our wealth with luxury cars and designer clothes, the Chinese follow a completely different path. They build what I call silent wealth. Fortunes accumulated without fanfare, without excess, and most importantly, without debt. Even Warren Buffett discovered these principles by studying his Chinese business partners. He found they follow ancient but incredibly effective strategies that guarantee financial security and steady growth. Today, you'll learn all 7 Chinese financial secrets that can transform your financial future, no matter where you're starting from. Drop a quick comment saying, "Ready for wealth." If you're committed to learning these powerful principles that the financial industry doesn't want you to know, let's begin with the first secret, the one that has helped create more Chinese millionaires than any other. Secret number 1, silent wealth, the concept of Shen. Over the past 2 decades, China has created millionaires at a pace that defies imagination. While Americans flaunt wealth with luxury cars and designer clothes, the Chinese follow a radically different path. They accumulate wealth silently, without fanfare, without excess, building fortunes that few can see but many would envy. Warren Buffett himself discovered these principles by closely studying his Chinese business partners. Think about that for a moment. When America's most successful investor takes notes on someone else's strategies, shouldn't we all be paying attention? What he uncovered wasn't complicated financial wizardry. It was a set of ancient, time-tested rules that virtually guarantee financial security and steady growth. The Chinese concept of Shen, the god of wealth, teaches something profound that goes against everything we see in Western culture. True prosperity isn't about showing off money. It's about protecting and accumulating it wisely. There's a powerful saying in China, "Kai bu lu bai," never display your wealth. This isn't about being cheap or miserly. It's about being strategic. Look at Jack Ma, Alibaba's billionaire founder. You rarely see him flaunting designer labels or exotic cars. His focus? Building long-term investments that compound over time, while others waste money on depreciating status symbols. Take a moment to reflect on your own financial decisions. How many purchases have you made simply to impress others? That $60,000 luxury car that lost $10,000 in value the moment you drove it off the lot. The $5,000 watch that tells the same time as a $100 one. The bigger house in the upscale neighborhood that stretches your budget to uncomfortable limits. Every dollar spent trying to look rich is a dollar that can't work toward making you actually rich. This wealth secret isn't complicated. It's something anyone can apply starting today. Before your next purchase, ask yourself one simple question. Am I buying this because I truly need it, or because I want others to see me with it? This single question has helped create countless Chinese millionaires who appear ordinary on the outside, but have extraordinary net worth statements. It's not about depriving yourself. It's about choosing wealth over the appearance of wealth. But if wealthy Chinese aren't wasting their money on flashy status symbols, what exactly are they doing with all that cash? That's where our second secret comes in. A financial habit so powerful it's transformed an entire nation's wealth in a single generation. And unlike what most financial advisors will tell you, it has nothing to do with finding the right investments. Secret number 2, the savings culture, Hong Bao, and the wealth cycle. In America, the personal savings rate hovers around 3 to 5%. In China, it exceeds 36%. Let that sink in for a moment. For every $100 an American earns, they save maybe $5. A typical Chinese person, they're putting away $36 or more. And we're not talking about millionaires. We're talking about average people across all income levels. This staggering difference isn't accidental. It's deeply cultural. And it starts with something you might have seen during Chinese New Year celebrations. The famous Hong Bao, red envelopes filled with cash. But what most Westerners don't realize is that these aren't just gifts. They're powerful financial lessons disguised as tradition. From childhood, Chinese people learn that money should be saved, not spent immediately. When a child receives a Hong Bao, parents typically say, "Don't spend this now. Save it for something important." This simple practice instills financial discipline from an early age, creating adults with a fundamentally different relationship to money than what we see in America. In China, many teenagers already have substantial savings accounts before they even start working. Meanwhile, in America, young adults typically enter adulthood with student loan debt and unchecked spending habits. The difference is striking. One culture teaches delayed gratification and strategic thinking about money. The other promotes immediate consumption and instant gratification. Here's how this translates to everyday life. Americans focus on looking rich now, often spending next month's paycheck through credit cards and financing. The Chinese focus on becoming rich over time, saving first and spending only what's left. It's a complete reversal of priorities that creates dramatically different financial outcomes. Want to apply this wisdom to your own life? Start with the Hong Bao rule. When money comes in, whether it's a paycheck, bonus, or gift, immediately set aside a percentage for savings before spending a dime. Treat this portion as if it doesn't exist for current spending. Begin with just 10% if you must, but work toward that Chinese average of 30 to 40% over time. Secret number 3. Debt is slavery. The principle of Chong Bu Jie. Tell me how you handle debt, and I'll tell you if you'll be rich or poor. In America, credit is treated as something natural, a pathway to having things before you can actually afford them. But in China, debt isn't viewed as a financial resource. It's seen as a dangerous trap that consumes wealth before it can grow. There's a powerful saying in Chinese culture, Chong Bu Jie, the poor should not borrow money. This might sound counterintuitive to Western ears. After all, isn't borrowing how you get ahead when you don't have much? But the Chinese understanding runs deeper. They recognize that excessive debt is the fastest way to destroy wealth before it can even be created. Look at how differently debt is viewed in our two cultures. In America, having multiple credit cards is normal. Financing everything from cars to furniture to the latest iPhone is considered standard practice. The average American household carries over $6,000 in credit card debt alone. In China, less than 20% of the population regularly uses credit cards. Many families only purchase homes or cars when they can pay at least 50% up front. This isn't about access to credit. It's about philosophy. Chinese financial wisdom teaches that using money you don't yet have is an enormous risk. You're essentially betting that your future will always be favorable. And as we all know from experience, life doesn't always work that way. When you borrow money, you're not just paying for an item, you're paying the original price plus interest. That $35,000 car becomes a $42,000 car after financing. That $4,400 furniture set becomes a $5,200 purchase when you spread payments over 3 years. Every dollar paid in interest is a dollar that could have been invested, growing your wealth instead of your lenders. Ready to apply this Chinese wisdom to your own finances? Stop the bleeding. If you're carrying high-interest debt, make eliminating it your top priority. Before making any significant purchase, ask yourself, do I really need this now, or am I just impatient? Adopt the Chinese perspective. If you need to finance consumer purchase, you simply can't afford it yet. But avoiding debt is just the beginning. Chinese wealth builders aren't just focused on today's financial decisions. They're playing a much longer game. And that brings us to our fourth secret, a mindset shift that could completely transform your financial future for generations to come. Secret number 4, long-term focus. How Chinese build wealth for generations. Ask an American about their financial plans, and they'll likely talk about their next vacation or the car they want to buy. Ask a Chinese person, and they'll tell you about their 30-year strategy. In America, we're obsessed with immediate rewards. We want results now, satisfaction today, and quick returns on our investments. But in China, the mentality is fundamentally different. Every financial decision is made with the next several decades in mind. This long-term perspective has a name in Chinese culture: Ji Fang Yin Kang, accumulate and hide wealth. This concept teaches that wealth shouldn't just be accumulated. It should be protected and expanded over time, creating a legacy that extends far beyond one's own lifetime. The contrast between cultures is stark. Many Americans live paycheck to paycheck, focused primarily on immediate needs and wants. Chinese families, however, by income-producing real estate, build businesses meant to last generations, and invest with time horizons that span decades, not quarters. Here's an eye-opening statistic. Studies show that 70% of wealthy American families lose their entire fortune by the second generation. Meanwhile, many Chinese families maintain and grow their wealth for centuries. The difference isn't luck or intelligence, it's planning. Chinese families actively educate their children about money management. They involve them in family financial decisions. They prepare them to not just preserve, but expand the family's wealth. This multi-generational perspective changes how money is viewed. It's not just your money. It's a resource that belongs to your lineage, entrusted to you temporarily before being passed to the next generation in even better condition. To apply this Chinese wisdom to your life, start thinking beyond your own timeline. Instead of focusing solely on retirement, consider how your financial decisions will impact your children and grandchildren. Invest in assets that can be passed down, income-producing properties, family businesses. Educate your family about money, because wealth that isn't understood is wealth that won't last. But even with this long-term perspective, Chinese families are incredibly practical about day-to-day expenses. And that brings us to our fifth secret, a method for controlling spending that doesn't require deprivation, just intelligence. Secret number 5, spending control, the Chinese method for avoiding waste. If I told you that you might be throwing away hundreds of dollars each month without realizing it, would you believe me? The truth is, the greatest enemy of your wealth isn't what you earn, it's what you spend without thinking. In America, impulse purchases are normalized. Sales, payment plans, and credit cards make unnecessary spending dangerously easy. But the Chinese have a system for avoiding this trap. They follow a powerful principle that eliminates waste and maximizes the value of every dollar spent. This principle is called Jie Jian, intelligent frugality. Jie Jian doesn't mean being cheap. It means making every cent work for you, instead of spending without criteria. Chinese families analyze whether each purchase truly brings long-term value to their lives. If something doesn't add lasting value, they simply don't buy it. Many Chinese millionaires avoid expensive restaurants and prefer cooking at home, drive modest cars when they could afford luxury vehicles, live in comfortable but reasonable homes rather than sprawling mansions. This isn't because they don't enjoy life. It's because they prefer to direct their money toward things that truly matter and appreciate over time. A fascinating study revealed that Americans spend approximately $5,500 annually on impulse purchases alone. That's money that could have been invested, potentially growing to over $115,000 in a decade with compound returns. The Chinese culture of frugality ensures families spend less on temporary pleasures and save more for lasting wealth. Want to apply this wisdom to your own life? Try the 24-hour rule. Whenever you feel the urge to buy something non-essential, wait 24 hours before making the decision. This reduces impulse buying and forces you to reflect on whether the purchase is truly necessary. Classify your purchases into 3 categories: Necessities, essential for living. Investments, things that can generate financial returns. Desires, non-essential wants. Before buying anything, ask yourself, which category does this fall into, and does it align with my long-term financial goals? Secret number 6, the Chinese budget, how to plan your money like a master. If you don't know where your money is going, how can you expect to build wealth? Most people don't control their spending. They simply hope money will be left at the end of the month. But the Chinese do things differently. They follow a system called Zhang Ben accounting book, which isn't just a budget, but a comprehensive plan for financial growth. Since ancient times, Chinese families have meticulously recorded every income and expense, ensuring that each dollar has a clear purpose. This habit prevents waste, ensures money doesn't sit idle without a purpose. The contrast with Western budgeting is stark. Many Americans don't know exactly how much they spend each month. Their budgets, if they exist, are based on estimates, not actual numbers. Many leave money sitting in low-yield checking accounts without a specific goal. In China, budgets are detailed and updated regularly. Money always has a defined purpose. Nothing is spent without planning. Any amount saved is immediately reinvested or stored with a specific goal in mind. Studies show that people who track their expenses are twice as likely to achieve their financial goals. How to apply this wisdom? Create your own Zhang Ben. Use a notebook or app to record all expenses. Categorize each expenditure as essential, housing, food, transportation. Investment, savings, assets. Discretionary, leisure, extras. Divide your budget into 50% for necessities, 30% for investments and savings, 20% for leisure and extras. Review weekly. Small adjustments prevent expenses from spiraling out of control. Secret number 7, financial networking, how the Chinese use connections to create wealth. If you lost all your money today, how long would it take you to recover? The answer depends on one of the greatest secrets of wealth building, something the Chinese master like no one else: the power of financial networking. In China, there's a concept called guanxi, strategic relationships, the idea that the right connections can open doors that money alone cannot. The Chinese don't just accumulate wealth. They create networks of contacts that ensure opportunities to grow financially. One good connection can lead to an investment partnership, a business opportunity you'd never find on your own. Many Chinese businesses don't make deals based solely on contracts, but on trust relationships built over years. The contrast with American networking. In the U.S., networking is often transactional, focused on immediate benefits. In China, networking is continuous and strategic. Trust and reciprocity are fundamental. How to apply this wisdom? Build relationships before you need them. Strengthen long-term connections. Small gestures that help today can lead to major opportunities later. Create a network of valuable contacts, mentors, partners with similar financial goals. Instead of just asking for favors, be valuable to others. Final challenge. Now that you know the 7 Chinese secrets to building silent wealth, here's the final challenge. Which of these secrets will you start applying today? If you've made it this far, you're already a step ahead of most. Now, it's time to transform knowledge into action. Come on, Budo. Which of these 7 wealth secrets are you going to implement first? On a scale of 1 to 10, how valuable did you find these principles? Your feedback helps me create even better content. Thanks for reading, and here's to your journey towards silent wealth.